Okay, we're up to Yud Gimel Amid Beis. We're up to the first wide line. Hanrabbanan. Kishanasi Nichnis, when the Nasi, the king, or in this case, the Nasi was the direct descendant of David HaMelech. Nichnis Kol Amoimdim, all the Am would stand up, then Yoshvin, and he would not sit down. Achoim Alehem Shvu until he said sit. Kishav Bezdin Nichnis, that was the second line. Dav Bezdin. Aisla Shura Achas Mikan V'Shura Achas Mikan. They make one row on one side, one row on the other side. Achiyashim Komo until he sat down in his place. Kishachacham Nichnis. You'd have one person getting up, one person getting down. So you have three different levels. You have the Nasi, and then you have the Avbezdin, and you have the Chacham. And it's clearly they're giving more cover to the Nasi, right? Because everyone's standing and no one is sitting down until he sits down. If the Talmidei Chacham and people that are needed by the Rabbim, mafsiin al Roshi Am, when they can walk in the base medrash, the people are they can walk over their heads, just walk over them, if it's necessary. Yotzel if he goes out for his needs, yichnis v'yeshiv komo. He's able to go back in and return to his place. B'nei Talmidei Chachamim shememunim aviyem parnas al tzibur. Their father was given a prominent position. Bisman sheyesh lehem das l'shmon, they understand. They have das to understand. Nichnasim v'yashim l'fnei avihem. They'll go ahead and sit in front of their fathers. V'achareim klapi ha'am, and their backs would be towards the people. Bisman she'ein lehem das l'shmon, they don't understand. So it's no purpose facing their father. Nichnasim v'yashim l'fnei avihem u'paneim klapi ha'am. They would face the people, and the back would be towards their father. Rav Lezer Tzaddik Omer af the Beis Hamishta, even by a Beis Hamishta. Snifim, they would make like snifim, like literally branches, but they would make like an extension for these kids to sit. Amamar, going back over the Brisa, the first part. Well, not the first, yeah. If he has to go to the bathroom, he comes back. It's only for katanim, which is urinating. For something more major, then they would not. He would not go back to his place because he should have gone ahead before he sat down. He should have gone ahead and gone to the bathroom. A person should go ahead and regulate himself. Remember, in those days they didn't have internal plumbing, and you had to go out, so the person should go ahead and accustom himself to be able to go in such a manner. However, in this day and age where people don't have the strength of intestinal plumbing of like the previous generation, right? Then, right? Then I feel the Gedalim Nami that you would be able to go out and go back for. Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Tzaddik, Omer af the Beis Hamishta Islam Snifim, even for they would make these extensions for the kids by weddings for these chashva people. Amarava, it's dafka b'chaya avim, the father's alive, and dafka b'fnei avim. Rabbi Yochanan. Okay, we're embark upon a difficult Maisa, and this Maisa is going to explain the discrepancy between why people would get up for the Nasi, and why for the Avbezdin you have the Shura, and why for the Chacham they go up and down. In other words, there are three different levels, and that took place as a result of the following Maisa. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Nasi, he was the Nasi. As in other words, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel was the father of Rebbe, guys. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, the father of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi was Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Rabbi Meir was the Chacham, and Rabbi Nassim was the Avbezdin. Rabbi Meir, as a matter of fact, we know, was a Ger. He descended from Gerim. He descended from Nero. You might remember the Gemara in Hanizaken, the Nero, when he shot the arrows, and he decided to be Chayz B'tshuva. He was, and he was descendant. So he couldn't have been a Nasi, but he was the Chacham. So ki have Reb Shmuel Hassam have kaimi kol yam mekamei. Reb Shmuel Gamliel the Nasi would walk in, everyone would stand up. Ki have Ayel Reb Meir Reb Nasin, and when Reb Meir the Chacham and Reb Nasin the Avbezdin have kaimi kol yalma bekamayo, they'd all go ahead and stand up. So in other words, there was no, you weren't able to discern the difference between the Nasi, the Avbezdin, and the Chacham, because in this situation presented itself all the same way. They all would stand up. Reb Shmuel Gamliel. It doesn't have to be a discrepancy between me and them. So tikin hamasnitan. he was metakin that misna. He was metakin that for the nasi everyone stands up, and for the Avbezdin two shuras, and for the for the chacham that they get up and down. However, Hahu Yuma that day that he made that takana, like Havi Reb Meir Reb Nassan Hassan, they weren't there at all. So the question, first of all, before we, what was his motivation? What was Reb Shimon Gamliel? What was his motivation? In other words, the Gemara says in Daf, this is based upon the Ivitz. The Gemara Peidalim and based in Bab Mitzia says Rebbe Yehuda Hanasi. Rebbe said there are three anivim, three people who are anavim. Who are they? Daddy, he said Abba, who's of Shimon Gamliel, and Yonasan ben Shol, and Ben Bnei Beseira. And the Gemara goes through like, yeah, so you see that what? It can't be Gaiva. When Rebbe Yehuda Nasi is saying on his father he was an Anav, so this is his Avis. So, but he's going to do this al Skaiva? It's not al Skaiva. Says the Ivitz beautiful. This is about Metzia pay dollar and base. Says Rebbe, says the Ivitz beautifully. So we have a Gemara guys Lamed Beis and Kedushin, right? With who can be Michael and the Kavod? It's Machloikis. Well, Melch Shemachal Kavod the Michael, and Rabbi Shimon Gamliel holds Melch Shemachal Kavod the Ein Kavod the Michael. So Menela, that's why he had to go ahead, and he didn't do Als Gaiva. He did Als the Malchus. That he's the Nasi, he's the descendant of the Melech. So Menela, he had to go ahead and make a discrepancy between them. Lamacha Kiyasa, and they weren't there. So Remeya and Nassan, they weren't there. They weren't present when he made this takana. So what happened? Lamacha Kiyasa Chazid Lekama Kamayu. So Reb Nassan and Reb Meir, who were accustomed that everyone would stand up, right? They weren't standing up. Kidragila Milsa. So I'm a my high, but was is Geshain. So I'm Amalahu Pachi Tikin Reb Shimon. This is that kind of they made. They made this takana. So I'm Reb Meir, Reb Nassan. I'm not Chacham, V'Avbezdin. 1 second. You're the Chacham, I'm the Chacham, you're the Avbezdin. Natskin Milsa, Kiluli done. Let's go ahead and like he made a takana, let's make a takana, right? Like he made, let's make a takana for us. Okay? In other words, so my nevadle, so namele, so what should we do? Namele gali uktzim, the lesle. When he comes to the base medrash, I'm going to say what? Go ahead and teach or reveal, literally Galis to reveal the Sechta Oxen, because he doesn't know it. Reb Meir knew that he didn't know it. The Kivin like Gomar, and once like Gomar, he was not learned. That Namelay will say to him, Mi Yamal Gvurus Hashem, who could go ahead and praise the Gvurus Hashem, is Yashmiya Kolti Lasai. Someone was able to be Mashmiya to cause others to hear Kolti Lasai. Lemino Lamal Gvurus Hashem, Mishiach Lashmiya Kolti Lasai. In other words, who's able to be in first place? Someone who can go ahead and teach everything about Kadosh Baruch Hu. Navre, and we'll take him down. Now, what's his motivation? Right? V'havi ana av bezdin v'ata you'll be the nasi. I can't be the nasi. After all, on my yichus is but you can go ahead and be the nasi. So this was their plan. Now the chayrid is the other side, right? What's the cheshbon of Rameya? So there, I sent out something. Membes, the second part. Ein kavanasei Reb Meir mishum shebikish gedula la'atzmei chalila. Chas v'shalom the Reb Meir. This is from the Mesifta. This is from the Mesifta. So ein kavanasei Reb Meir mishum shebikish gedula la'atzmei chalila. He wasn't doing it because he wanted for himself. El k'dei l'chazik es kvoidem shel tamidei. He wanted to mechazik the kavod of tamidei chachamim. Shalis nagu hanesiim begedula. Yisera al Chachamim, that the Nesiim should not go ahead and be Noy Geduloi b'Chachamim. Pikach Amal Reb Nassan, Sheyeh Nasi, that he should be the Nasi, Reb Nassan, V'hu Atzma Yeh Av and Bezdin, and he, Reb Meir, will be the Av Bezdin. Av Shehu Yegodol Yosemi Reb Nassan, even though Reb Meir was bigger than Reb Nassan. Kedei Laharosh Ein Hu Tzorach LeGedula Zu Ben Yoyada. So he was doing the L'Kavod Torah. And the fact that he said, he put him in first place, well, again, according to my explanation, it's a moot point. He can't be the Nasi, right? But again, you see that he gave him, even though Reb Meir was bigger, he gave him more prominence to show that it has to do with Kavod Torah, nothing else. It wasn't for permanent. El perik zemut, only a short period of time. Ubizman zeh hoyim mevatlim es tekanoisa v'chadashos. They'd be mevatel those new takanis. V'koyv macheres tachtayim. Lach mikano yimeshiv myself in the seals. In other words, in that period of time, they would correct things and they would bring them back. So that was the kavana. That was the kavana of Meir. So again, in a difficult ma'aseh, you have to learn. I focused on the kavana of Rabbi Shimon Gamliel as the Melech, the Nasi, and the kavana of what the kavana Torah of Rabbi Meir. So, unfortunately, for Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Nassim, as they say, the walls have ears. You ever heard that in Russian, right? Okay. So what happened over here? Sham'inu Rabbi Yaakov ben Karshi, he heard the plan. So Amar, he said to himself, it's going to come to tremendous embarrassment for Rabbi Shem Gamliel. So also Yosef Achure, Ilasei, Rabbi Shem Gamliel. So Rabbi Yaakov ben Karshi, he went and sat in the back of the aliyah of the attic of Rabbi Shem Gamliel, Pashat Garis V'Tana, V'Garis V'Tana, and he kept on learning what Masechta Uktzin. So there you are, you're sitting in your room, and all of a sudden you hear Masechta Uktzin coming out the window, like, hello. Like there's got to be something up. Amar, my tekama. What's going on over here? Midi. So Shimon said, "Efsha, maybe there's something in the basement just going to go on over here." So Yov daiti vigarsa. So what did he put his mind to Shimon Gamliel, and he learned. He learned Masechta Uksin. Lamacha Amrulei. He came to the base medrash. Amrulei. He Reb Nassin and Reb Meir said to Reb Shimon Gamliel, "Neisi ma v'nisnei b'Uksin. Sit down and teach Uksin." Pasach v'Amar. And what did he do? He sat down and he did the job. Basa du'ukim amalahu. You like aminan because if I didn't learn it, you would embarrass me. So pocket, right? Bafkinam reis medrash. What did Reb Shimon Gamliel do? Arois. So both Reb Nassin and Reb Meir went on the base medrash. Now you be in base medrash. Why you go home with broigas? No. You will go. That's not what happened over here. I can't be in the base medrash, so they stood outside the base medrash. I think I told the story with my Rabbi and the Brisker Rav and the Marcheshes. I think I told the story over more than once. The Marcheshes was the oldest dayan on the Vilna Bezdin, and my Rabbi was the youngest dayan on the Vilna Bezdin. And so my Rabbi was Mishamishim, and when the World War II broke out, everyone went to Vilna, including the Brisker Rav. So the Brisker Rav, what did he do? He said share, but what did he say? Share in the house. The Brisker says share in the house. So my Rabbi showed up with the Marcheshes. He walked in, and the Brisker Rav refused to say share in front of the Marcheshes. He refused to say share. He wouldn't say share in front of the Marcheshes. So they left, and they stood outside the window for an hour and a half listening to the share. You understand the same thing? So when they left, what happened over here? So they left. They said, "Havi kaspi kushayu with pitka b'shadi hasam." They Reb Nassin and Reb Meir, the shilas they had, they would put it on a piece on a petek. They throw in the base medrash. Havi mifrak parik, whatever the base medrash they could answer, they answered. The loy havi mifrak, right, and that they couldn't answer. Kasim peruka b'shadi. Reb Meir and Nassin, they would go ahead and answer the questions. Amalu Rabbi Yosi, Torah b'chutz v'anobefnit. All the answers to the questions, the Torah is outside and this is inside. So Amalahem Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel Nailinu, right? So they told Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, let him in. So Mihu, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel said, Amalahen, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Nailinu. We'll take him back inside. We'll take Rabbi Meir, and we'll take Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Nassin back inside. So Mihu. Naknesinu will give a kanas. What's the kanas? Le'neimu shmaitza mishamayu. They're not going to say when anything they said in Torah, they wouldn't say it in their name. Asikul Reb Meir acherim. Anytime the Gemara says acherim, it's Reb Meir. So they gave him a name of Reb Meir. Reb Nassin yeshaimim. You mavasa to cover the Torah. So again, you'll know your place.
That was Mishnah.
What? No, Stam Mishnah was the way that way Rebbe. Stam Mishnah was the way Rebbe wanted to go ahead and say that the halacha is like that person. But we say Stam Mishnah is Rebbe only because the Messiah from Rabbi Akiva, not because of the Acherim name. Because it would say it's.
He doesn't say it's by Rebbe. He always says Stam Mishnah.
Stam Mishnah. Stam Mishnah Rebbe. Oh, yeah, no, it's like a rule. Anyway, Zila. So anyway. So Achvilahu b'chal maihu, they showed up in a dream Zilu Paisul Reb Shimon Gamliel. So both Reb Nassan and Reb Meir had the same dream to go ahead and be Mephias Reb Gamliel. Reb Nassan Azal, Reb Nassan went, and Reb Meir Lay Azal, and Reb Meir did not go, and he did not go. So Omar Divrei Chalam is like Malam Blam reading. That's Reb Meir's famous sheet in Masech Brachas. He goes, "There's nothing to dream," so he didn't bother. Kios Reb Nassan Amalei Reb Shimon Gamliel Nehida Hani Lach Kamra Davucha. So Reb Shimon Gamliel told Reb Nassan, "Good, the Rashi touches the golden belt of your father Lamhavi Av Bezdin." Shavinu Nami Nasi. In other words, what were you thinking? You know, one protexia can only get you up to a certain point. Okay. Anyway, Masti le Rebbe Reb Shimon Berei. Rebbe taught it into Reb Shimon Berei. Acher Moimrim. Acher said, "I'm going to skip the Torah. There's a whole Tamura. We'll skip that. If you want to know, you have to share. You come over with me." So he said, "Ilu hoya Tamura le hoya Karif." If there was a din in Tamura. So it's a story about a 9th, 10th, or 11th gets mixed up, so you wouldn't be. So Amalai, Reb Shimon said, "Mi heim alolu Shimon meyamanu shaisim." Who is the one Reb Shimon that said to his father Rebbe, right? Again, Reb Shimon Gamliel. Don't mix this. Not Reb Shimon Gamliel anymore. This is Reb Shimon, the grandson of Shimon Gamliel. He was named after Zayda, right? And this is Reb Shimon ben Rebbe. This is Rebbe's son, right? So Reb Shimon, Rebbe's son, said to him, "Mi heim alalu Shimon meyam anu shaisim u'shmoisam einonu maskirim acherim moimrim." You know, we mamish living by this Torah, this Tmura, and we don't know who it is. So Amalei. So Rebbe said, "Bnei Adam shebikshu lakai kvaitcho covered beis avichi." You know who these people are? The one who wanted to go ahead and take away your covet and the covet of your father. In other words, they wanted to go ahead and take down the Nesiim. So Amalei, so Reb Shimon said to him, "Gam ahavasam, gam sanasam, gam kinasam, kvarov." They're not here anymore. So say their names. So Amalei, so Rebbe said, "Ha'oyev tamu." It's good that the enemy is tamu. It's finished. But charava is lenetzach. The churban is forever. So therefore, we're keeping their names. Acherim and yeshomrim. Amalei, Reb Shimon said, "Hani mili heichad ahnu masayu." You know when the charbos is netzach, when their plans come to fruition. Rabbanon, like lo yahanu masayu. But over here, it didn't work. They didn't take you down. So I guess Rebbe was convinced by the Reb Shimon, his son's persuasion, and Hada Aslile. Then he put the names in Amru. However, Mishum Reb Meir, Iluhoya Tmura Lehoya Karev. So he didn't took out Acherim, but he said Mishum Reb Meir, and the name of Meir. Iluhoya Tmura. If the 11th was a Tmura, they wouldn't be bringing it as a carbon. Amarava Afilu Rebbe, even Rebbe, the Anvasanasahu, the Rebbe was a tremendous anav, right? Nonetheless, Tanu Omer Mishum Reb Meir, Omer Reb Meir Lo Yamar. In other words, he didn't. When you say Reb Meir directly, it's more than Mishum in the name of Reb Meir. When you say something in the name of a person, it's not the same as the person directly saying it. So even though the tremendous anivis of Rebbe, it's nonetheless, and he restored the name, but he didn't go totally restore it because he said Mishum Reb Meir. I'm Rabbi Yachin. Pligi bar Reb Shimon Gamliel Rabbanan. Chanama Sinai Yadaf v'Chanama Oika Haramadaf. Sinai is a person who brises a sedura like it was given at Sinai, and the Oika Harim is the one who's very, very what? He is his Torah is he's a Tifa Lamdin. He's the one who goes there and delves into the matter. Rabbi Yossi, so Rabbi Yossi Sinai. Rabbi Yossi was the Sinai, and Rabba Oika Harim, and Rabba was the Oika Harim. So Sholchul Taman, they sent to Eretz Yisrael. Ezam and Koidim, who should come first, the Sinai or the Oika Harim? So Sholchul Sinai Adif, the Sinai Adif. In other words, Rabbi Yosef should come first. The Amar Mar Hakol Tzrichin Lemari Chitya. One says you need the owner of the wheat. You know you can't start delving into something until you have clarity totally. So the Sinai who had clarity of Messiah, that's the one that we should give cover to. Nonetheless, the Kibbutz Rabbi Yosef. Allah. Rabbi Yosef did not go ahead and Kabul. So Malach Rabba Esem v'Tat Shonim. Rabba was Malach for 22 years. V'Hoda Malach Rabbi Yosef. V'Chol Shoni the Malach Rabba Rabbi Yosef Afilu Umnid Lebeis Lecholach. He didn't even go ahead and allow takes his position to allow a bloodletting to come to his house. Abai v'Rava Rabbi Zeira v'Rabba v'Masna have a Yasri v'Avitzricha Reisha. You need a person, I guess, to lead them in learning. Amri called the Aman Milsov like Nifrach. Anyone could say something and we don't slug up. Lavi Reisha should be the leader. The Kula Ifrach, everyone was Ifrach, the Baile Ifrach. Chazir Rabba Labaya, the Gaba Reisha, he saw that he picked up his head. Amle Nachmeni Pasach ve'ema. Ibaylahu. Reb Zeira v'Rabba Rav Masna, Haiminayu Adif. Rabbi Seira Charif Umaksha, right? Rabbi Yosef Masna Masan Umasika. My what's the din one was Sinai was like Harim Teku. It remains a Teku. So Hajan Lacha Kayin Mashiach Asiklam Sech the Haris. So we're making the siyum. We're making the siyum. The Ilu Nishmas Miriam Rus Basachova Rav Moshe, the wife of our dear Chova Meir Leib Gewurtzman, who's been in the share for many years. He came, his son Shlomo brought him into the share. I happen to know Meir for many years. It was we go back, oh my gosh, Meir, 60 years. Yeah, we go back many times. The Gewurtzman family was a major family in the Young Israel Nulats and in the whole East New York, a very American family, very a prestigious family, and it was a chus to have him in the share, and his Torah and the Torah of the share should be an aliyah for the neshama. Hajjalach Masech the Horayos, the Seder Nezikin, the Hajjachalon. Taitachalon Masech the Horayos, the Seder Nezikin, the Taitachalon. Like this same enough Masech the Horayos, the Seder Nezikin, but this name none. Love Almani none the Asay. Hajjalach Masech the Horayos, the Seder Nezikin, the Hajjachalon. Taitachalon Masech the Horayos, the Seder Nezikin, the Taitachalon. And this same enough Masech the Horayos, the Seder Nezikin, like this name none. Love Almani none the Asay. Hajjalach Masech the Horayos, the Seder Nezikin, the Hajjachalon. Taitachalon Masech the Horayos, the Seder Nezikin, the Taitachalon. And this same enough Masech the Horayos, the Seder Nezikin, like this name none. Love Almani none the Asay. Here's some Fanecha Adonai Eloheinu Malei Avasenu Shetei Taraschov Nesenu Malazeh Teimanu Elam Haba Chanina Bar Papa Rami. Remember this, good for memory, guys. We just had this. Say the names afterwards. It's chus to remember. You say the names. It's chus to remembering. I'm telling you. Chanina Bar Papa, Rami Bar Papa, Nachman Bar Papa, Achai Bar Papa, Abba Mori Bar Papa, Rafam Bar Papa, Rachish Bar Papa, Surcha Bar Papa, Ada Bar Papa, Dora Bar Papa. Harav Adonai Eloheinu Estiris Taraschov B'Finu B'Fisam Chav Yisrael V'ni Anachnu B'Kavanu V'Tzetzenu V'Tzetzem Chav Yisrael Kolei Neshmecha V'Lein Yisrael Meyavi T'Rachmei V'Tzech Yilam Hili B'Tam B'Kech Lam Halevash Loyal Leshat Kudecha Kivan Kiyusani Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Chukecha Amen 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 Selavad Vayim Nachnu V'Necha Adonai Eloheinu V'Lei Vasenu Shesanta Chokenu Mesh Beis HaMedrash V'Santa Chokenu Mesh V'Kanos Shana Mashkim V'Heim Matkim Anu Mashkim L'Vei Torah V'Heim Mashkim L'Varim B'Telam Anu Amelam Ein Amelam Anu Amelam V'Kav Mesacha V'Heim Amelam Ein V'Kav Mesacha Anu Ratzim Ein Ratzim Anu Ratzim Chayolim Haba V'Heim Ratzim V'Shachas Shnemar Yatel Lim L'Tavidem V'Shachas Ad Sheik Damim Mirma V'Yachzu Yimei V'Ani Eftach Bach. Here's something from Necha Adonai Lahai Kashem Shelatani L'Sayim Mesechtes Horayos Seder Nezikin Kain Tazrin L'Haskim Mesechtes Sor Macherim L'Sayim Amlum V'Dolami Lishma Lasu L'Chaim Es Kol Dvei Tam Mesech Be'ava L'Schus Kol Tanoim V'Amroim V'Tam Nechachamim Yam Oli L'Zari Shaloi Tomash Atayra Mipi Pi Zari V'Zari Achar Alam V'Skaim Bi B'Asalacha Chotan Chayescha V'Shach V'Tishma Olecha. Like it says, he says, "Kivi Yeru Necha V'Yasiv V'Chashnas Chaim Oirach Yam Lamina V'Smol Oishat Chavod and Nay Azlam Yitain and Nay Repet Amay Bash V'Avam." Yudel V'Skadesh Mei Rabbi the Osis Kadato Sarayim Messiah Sakol Dasan Chayalmi when Karto the Vishleim V'Shachlo V'Hechol V'Kapa V'Merkapa V'Chona Ben Ara V'Asovat V'Chona Dishmai Lasrei V'Yamach Kushabrich V'Machzeh V'Karei V'Chaychon and Fenachet Chavei Sisrael Bagvos and Karib and Muhammad. Ich dabei bis Bravis Mavis na sei, ist da bis los los mit Jobrico. Was wir schon gesagt, das passen nach was da wenn man mehr. So war man noch haben wir dann mal kommen, wir sind mit dem kommen, das Preis die was oder dem in Kopf. Sava, wir haben schon aber fin mit das Raf und kein mit wir sind wie kai, kann man gerade mal schon ja, aber mehr. Ich noch schon mal kein mal in Kopf wenn man mehr. Mr. Shalom mal für ja schon mal in mal kai ist well wenn man mehr.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, I know how many people. And we didn't want enough food because then it says so I understand stirring.
So we can just
Call it up now.
I showed it to you online.
Oh, yes, you did.
But I have the app.
That one's 32 minutes. Don't forget about most car leaves. I get the most car, I came here to work. Oh. Actually, maybe I not go.
I gave nothing. It's like you make it sit now.
Oh, it's much closer.
That is food also, that's all.
Harry's coming home Drink some water to the sea, okay?
You broke those plans.
Okay, so he's gonna come in, he's gonna come in, they'll FaceTime when he comes in, and we'll get two bottles here, okay? So, okay, give me the canter, it doesn't make a difference, anyone. Give me the canter and also the corkscrew, okay? You know what the corkscrew is? Like the one we use on Shabbos, that. The bigger one, and the corkscrew, that's on the, I keep it by the svarim there, next to my say. Okay?
Mazel tov.
When I speak, I'll take that also, so, I'll send it to you afterwards, right?